Surge!
Aegis Wall!
Chom's Touch!
Summon Running Ally!
Actual future, Professor.
Welcome in. Thanks for joining us again. Appreciate you guys all for joining us for another class as we go over the classes available in Spells and Scepters. Again, we're here to get you on your way and to get you playing today. So we're going to make this as quick as possible and go over all the classes that you may play in Spells and Scepters. Give you a little bit of history and a quick couple tips and tricks as we go through them. So let's say you've already got your species out of the way. You know what you're trying to build as your primary stat. That's something to keep in mind before you ever even get to your class. A lot of these classes revolve around one single primary stat. And you really want to make this synergize with what your species build is. Playing a primary stat class that is not going to align with your species doesn't mean you have a bad build, but it means it's going to take some more time to round it out. And that time might not be available if your survivability doesn't meet the threshold. So just keep that in mind. The more diverse your character build is, the harder it's going to be because the less focused bonuses you're going to have towards one single area. But you're going to have a lot more opportunity in the late game. So I say build how you want. I'm just here to help you get you on your way. My name's Blunt. Let's get into it. The core classes. Number 1, we got the Duelist. Your fast-casting offensive mage specializing in spell duels. They have a primary stat of intelligence or dexterity. They feature a quick cast, which can cast one cantrip as a bonus action twice per rest, and their duelist form, which gives them +2 AC in 1v1 duels. The signature bowl, a unique scaling attack, which we'll find out a lot more about in one of our coming up classes. The Duelist is an amazing class. There is plenty of support for playing a Duelist, as it is one of the primary 4 core classes. It is built directly into the rock, paper, scissors scenario system that we have set up for Spells and Scepters, and it is your evoker's dream. If you want to cast big attacks that do big damage, this is for you. Plus, when you have your opponents separated and caught in these 1v1 battles, you're going to be buffed. You're going to be in your element. This class synergizes all by itself. Next up, we have the Enchanter, your support buff mage. They focus on wards, charms, and illusion with a primary stat of charisma. This is going to help you against all the dark monsters that want to mess your junk up and keep you focused on what you want to do. Specifically, Inspiring Arcana, granting ally 1d4 to rolls like Bardic Inspiration. Your Arcane Shield, your Charm, Ward, and Utility spells. All of these that need time and concentration to set up, you're not going to want them stunning you, charming you, fearing you, hexing you, cursing you while you're trying to set these up. And because of that, its primary stat is Charisma, which is the anti-curse magic. A beautiful class. It comes with a lot of long time potential and is a good safety one if your team needs a buff mage to kind of overall the support out to everybody else. Very, very nice class. Next up, we have at number 3, the Artifician. The Artifician Techno Mage uses spell-powered gadgets, elemental grenades, and animated tools. Their primary stat is Intelligence, and they feature a arcane toolkit, spell battery charges, and constructing familiars. What is super, super cool about the Artifician is those spell battery charges, which work much like scrolls, but specifically only carrying one spell slot in them, not able to use ASI, which is a huge difference. But not only that, they come with a variety of these little creatures that you can build, which all takes time and mastery points. Again, this one is kind of like the Enchanter, where you're going to have to long-term build this out. It's not going to give you a lot of early game buffs, but with your toolkit and your spell battery charges, you're going to be able to get on your way and get into those dungeons, which is where you're going to find everything you need to make this class work. So it kind of plays itself out as it goes, but it definitely takes some time and commitment to get the Artificial running. Number 4, we got the Wild Herald. This is one of the most popular classes right now. It is a very strong and very dominant class. It is magically bonding to magical creatures with a primary stat of Wisdom. It has the features of Beast Bond, Nature Magic, Tracking, and Taming. This class is amazing. We know that all the way at the end of this class, you get that fabled second companion, which is so amazing. You can have plenty of familiars, but really having that companion, having that all-time ready to go, not needing to spend your spell slots to get the beast onto the battlefield is huge in this economy. And the Wild Herald presents exactly that. And being able to beast bond, being able to tame for your free interaction is just huge. It opens your turn up to what you can do in these dungeons and in the battlefield in general. And they also get strong affinity to natural magic, which is huge. It's very nice. Tracking, taming is going to help you on all sorts of quests. This class also kind of just plays itself. It's one of those that you could definitely start with and get right on your way, and it also has some really late game benefit. The curve for this class is really beautiful. Up next, we have the Shadow Lexicon, your Dark Mage. They study the shadow arts, and they are not evil by default, but most of your dark wizards, of course, are the Shadow Lexicon. Shadow Lexicon, I would think as the wizards that dare to kind of manipulate the veil, to kind of be willing enough to be curious between the thresholds of worlds. And that gives them unique access to spells that we don't really see in the rest of the spell book. They have a primary stat of Charisma or Wisdom. They feature the Umbral Cloak, which is basically a light teleport, Fear and Binding spells, and Shadow Familiars. This is just so much fun to play. We've gotten to see how this flushes out, and we've seen a really cool interpretation of it. This is just an awesome, awesome class overall. The Umbral Cloak we've seen be so useful, and we were just kind of talking about it earlier about that. Being able to back up, 5 feet, 10 feet, 15 feet is just so useful. The Fear and the Binding spells, being able to lock your opponent up with those stuns and then also bind them, shut down their actual economy of turn, is so crazy. And then also the Shadow Familiars. What more could you want with this class? It is just all rounded so well. It is going to be very hard to learn a lot of the spells for this class, as Shadow and Dark Magic isn't just readily accessible, though in Mistveil you will have the Shadow Arts and Umbral Studies, which is mainly more of a teaching of how to defend yourself against them and not an actual practical application of how to get them, which is a pretty cool distinction. But this leaves you searching for how to find these different spells, and that is half of the fun with this class. You really got to get into the world and explore for the payoff of this one. Next up, you have the Sorcerer. This came in with our first update. This is a fantastic class that we have not got to see any play out of yet. So we don't have any statistical information to back up anything from here on, but this is a beautiful initiate specialist. They're born aligned to a single arc of magic. Sorcerers excel in deep rather than versatility. I mean, these are just amazing casters. They were born to be great. Their primary stat is willpower, which is one that we don't see in the entire rest of the class arcs. They have the features of the birth arc. They can choose one channeling arc type at level 1, and this is going to be your different, there's 32 different archetypes that you may choose from. And whenever you're trying to learn spells of that arc, you're always at advantage. Casting spells of that arc cost 1 spell slot less, and learning and casting spells outside of that arc is done at disadvantage. You gain +1 ASI usable basically right off the bat, and again, this is one of the only classes that offers that. Only the counter to this class offers the ASI right at the start. ASI is a huge deal. You get it from your grimoire, and it seems like it would just be, kind of available across the board for different reasons, but it is an economy like all the others, and so being able to get one right off the bat for free is just huge. This gets you rolling on your way if that's your way to play. Next up, we have the Mage, your arcane conductor. Mages borrow magic from allies and weave it into rapid coordinated spellcasting. Their primary stat is intellect, and they have the following features: arcane borrowing. At the start of combat, choose one allied caster and borrowed one known spell. This is huge. It allows versatility and synergy with any type of species or class, and makes the mage immediately add synergy to your build. They have linked casting. If you cast a spell as your primary action, you can cast a borrowed spell as the same channeling type as a bonus action, which we know that you're able to do something kind of similar with this with your with casting in succession, but being able to do this with grabbing the other spells and being able to swap up the order and being able to do it as a bonus action is something entirely different. This means there's a whole bunch of different ways you could set this up, and that it doesn't have to be done in a primary attacking format, which opens up the mage for so much play that we don't see from really any of the other classes. Being able to grab that versatility, being able to not only grab it and use it as long as your teammate has it, having that automatic synergy output for damage is one thing, but also being the only class that can do something like that and present it as not an attack, and not only that, but also as a bonus action is insane. And after the mage, linked casting at the bonus action, you have to borrow a spell of equal or lower level. Borrowed spells use at the mage's stats and cannot trigger from the ascended effects. Only one borrowed spell may be maintained at a time, so if you have one going, you can't link another. That is the only catch, though. Number 8, we have the Shaman, your spirit medium. Shamans trade their own actions to let true spirits walk the battlefield, with their primary stat being their spirit, and features being spirit evocation, a forfeit to your turn to summon a true spirit, not a companion or a familiar. The spirit immediately takes its own full turn. After the spirit's turn, the shaman gains an additional bonus action. During this bonus action, the shaman may attempt to maintain the spirit, which is based on a roll, guide the spirit's next action, which allows the spirit to go again, or act normally, releasing the spirit automatically. Only one spirit may exist at a time. So this kind of changes how we think of summoning working, especially for familiars, but not only that, but for companions as well. As we know about the Ready Summon Allied spell, we know that we can bring allies into the battlefield, and we know that it has to be after us. But with the shaman, we're now able to kind of switch that up a little bit, and we're able to bring this creature in before us. We follow after it, which means that we don't have to forfeit our initiative in a ladder whenever we roll the initiative orders. Say we get a really high one and our beast was really, really low, whatever the case may be. Maybe it joined at the end of a combat, it was running in the combat. I'm thinking of any scenario here besides directly summoning it in, where it just immediately joins after you. But in any of those situations, this is entirely different. This sets it up to go before you, and then you get this one single bonus action following it. You don't even get your full action, your full turn, which is very, very, very important. With this bonus action, you are very, very limited in what you can actually do for your bonus action. Because as you can tell, movement is not listed on here, which is very important. Also, healing is not listed on here. Nothing besides what is listed on here. So you have your attempt to maintain the spirit, which is your roll based. You can attempt to, and then on that success, you can make it have another attack, or you can act normally, which releases the spirit automatically. And so what this means is after you have let it do its turn, you basically have to roll to try and keep control of it, much like we see with taming checks when you're actually trying to make it your companion. This is something that the shaman has to do every single turn. And on that pass, they may either choose, do I want the spirit to go again and I have to risk controlling it again, or do I want to let it go? They're not going to be able to move. They're not going to be able to take any of their regular actions during this period. So it lets the spirit go, and then they have to decide, do I want to give it a second turn? If yes, now the spirit has a second turn. Following that turn, you do not get another turn, but instead the next time it comes back around, the spirit will have an additional turn following its regular turn. That would be its regular initiative order. You would go as your one bonus action, and then you would decide if you want it to get that additional one or if you want to let it go. Either way, the cycle would repeat unless you chose to let it go. Sorry, not either way. The cycle would repeat unless you chose to let it go. And so in this method, you're basically getting one free turn in there eventually, but this is a gamble. It's going to land on your side some of the times, but a lot of the times this is going to leave you vulnerable, stuck on the battlefield. You're going to be adding additional action economy, but you're going to be risking your economy. And this is very, very important. You're going to need a team that can protect you or heal you or at least distract the bad guys. Because you are not going to be doing a lot during your turn. The spirits are going to be doing it for you, and while they're going to get additional turns, you're only going to get that one single bonus action, and it's gonna be a determining factor of trying to keep this beast controlled. So they are a really, really fun one. Again, we haven't got to see this one played yet, but I am super excited to see more of these. Next, at number 9, we have the Evoker. This is your method specialist, the counterpart to the Sorcerer. Evokers are born to a method of magic rather than a type or element. Their primary stat is also willpower, and their features are their birth method instead of a birth arc. They can choose one: evocation, ward, bind, or summon. They learn spells of that birth method at advantage, and casting spells of your birth method costs one less spell slot, minimum of one. Birth method spells resolve as +1 effective spell level. Casting or learning spells outside of your birth method is done at disadvantage. You gain +1 ASI, usable only for your birth method spells. This is huge and a very, very tough one. I would say if you want to have the fun with the +1 ASI, it's easier and safer to start with the Sorcerer because you know exactly what you're going to build after you've chosen that elemental type, that archetype, and it kind of plays out for you after that. For the Evoker, you're going to have to choose one of these 4 in a game of rock, paper, scissors. And once you've chosen your 1 out of the 4, it's going to be double effective. You're going to smash through twice. If you choose rock, you're going to smash through twice as many scissors. But you're going to run into not only paper, but a secondary weakness. So in this game of rock, paper, scissors, instead of there being 3 options, there's really 4 options. and you choose one of those other ones, one of the other three, you're going to be effective against, but now you're going to have 2 weaknesses. This represents our magical archetype chart so perfectly because that's exactly how it works. It is built right in from that. It is a very, very cool class, very, very complicated, and it would take a lot of fleshing out. You are going to have troubles with this class when you start off. It's how are you going to build and overcome those troubles that is the fun of this class. You're going to find niche situations that you are just the bomb diggity at, and then you're going to find other situations where it is just rough out here. But that is the fun of the Evoker and why they kind of get that +1 ASI to balance them out and keep them up there, keep them relevant with the Sorcerer. And they're just overall a very, very strong in lore, in universe class as well. And just a very, very fun one to play. I'm personally really, really thinking about the Evoker for one of my first personal characters. It is a very, very fun one. It is interesting in all regards. And with it being the willpower counterbalance, it and sorcery being the only 2 are kind of fun. So it's something to think about. And that is all 9 of our classes. And that gives you a lot of things to think about until our next class. I want to thank you guys for joining us. And until next time.